Hello and welcome to Junk Journal Inspirations. My name is Emily. Today we are on the next episode of my Junk Journaling from A to Z series. And today we are focusing on antique slash vintage lace and appliques. So obviously this is a very broad topic. So I'm just going to show you a couple of ways that I use the items that I happen to have in my stash in my journals, just to kind of give you some inspiration. This by no means is an exhaustive, video that describes everything that can be done with those two things. And there's so much that can be done. I don't know. I buy my lace in multiple places. Most of the lace that I have is from antique stores and thrift stores. So I honestly have no idea about the age of most of it. And, for the most part, I'm guessing that it's old. So when I say antique lace or vintage lace, I'm kind of using those terms loosely and interchangeably because I really don't know how old most of my lace is. Yeah, I just don't. So I pulled out this one particular kind that I have. I think it's beautiful. It has a lovely netting at the top, and then the flowers at the bottom, but like I said, I really don't know how old it is. And then I pulled out a whole bunch of appliques, and I'll explain to you where I have gotten these. I do have some available for purchase, some cuts, kind of like, cut pieces like this in my shop. I have some like this as well. And these have all come from old wedding dresses that I have found at thrift stores for very inexpensive, honestly. And for the most part, they are very outdated. So my guess would be that, most likely no one's going to actually buy them for their intended purpose as a wedding dress. So I don't feel horrible about buying them and cutting them up. I know that this might be, kind of a touchy subject for some people who have trouble cutting things up. I don't. So you will see me cut things, old clothing, wedding dresses, books. I don't have a problem with that, unless it's something sentimental to me personally. And even then, it just depends on what it is, because if it's not going to get used and it's just going to go in a closet or, even in the trash, I will use it and cut it up. So that being said, if this is upsetting to you, I apologize. But to me, it's a way to reuse something that quite possibly would sit in the thrift store for a very long time, waiting to be used as a wedding dress. Does that make sense? All right, so this is actually a sleeve that I cut off and then didn't finish, kind of cutting apart. So it's beautiful. It has lovely netting, which I love, and then all the gorgeous floral details and that sort of thing. The cuff, I think, is gorgeous. So that's a piece like that. And then, you've got your beaded lace pieces, applique pieces. This one as well. This one happens to be on some satin. It's got some sequins. And then this was, I think, the bottom of a dress. It was like the trim. And actually the pearls always, because I've cut it apart, the little pearls tend to not stay all the time. Some of the ones near the edge, if I've accidentally cut the stitches, but I don't mind that. I don't mind if there's a couple pearls missing, doesn't bother me at all. So that is that. All right, so let me show you a couple of ways that I would use things like this. This piece in particular, I think, is perfectly shaped to be a corner tuck. So I just grabbed some coffee dyed cardstock here. So what I would do, now you can sew this if you have a sewing machine, which is what I would probably do normally, or you can glue it just on the two edges. So let's just, for the sake of the video, I'm going to go ahead and glue this one. And instead of adding the glue to the applique, I'm going to determine how high, and I'm purposefully leaving it hang off the bottom and the side. I like how that looks. So I want to get an idea of height here, so I can add my glue, and then we can add this piece, or this side, right? And then we can lift this up and add glue at the bottom, like that. And you have an instant, beautiful corner tuck for, you know, to add whatever you want, really. And it looks pretty from this side too, I think. I love having things kind of sticking out here and there. It kind of lends to the whole junk journal idea, right? If it's just not junky, but you know, you've got stuff kind of everywhere. So yeah, you could sew that, but I think it's totally fine to just glue it. I would use a fabric glue. It will hold much better. And then you have a nice little place to tuck something in your journal. I think that's beautiful, and it's super, super quick. So if you find, you know, these nice sort of corner pieces, I mean, it was just like that, and I just cut around, you know, the shape that was already there. It's just makes a perfect little corner. All right, now let's go over to this side, because another thing you can do is use this kind of piece as either, you know, on the edge of a page, or you could turn it into a belly band. That would be cool too. Let's do this one as a belly band. So I'm going to trim it here. Now, when I make belly bands, I tend to not just make like one long spot, you know, I don't just put glue at the top and the bottom. I tend to do glue at the top, glue at the bottom, and then maybe in the center. So it's like a double belly band. So that's what I'm going to do with this one. But again, I've got some overhang, which is fine. So I'm going to add the glue to the paper instead of to the applique, like so. And then we'll pick a point somewhere in the center. It's not, you know, doesn't have to be perfectly in the center, but we'll just stick that down there. And then glue down here at the bottom. There. Now you have a really pretty belly band. And it's a double one, so you can tuck something here and tuck something here. And by gluing it in the center and not just at the top and the bottom, it kind of gives you a little extra hold, so things aren't kind of flopping out and everything. I like doing that most of the time, unless I have something really large. We'll get to belly bands in another episode, but you know, just a little segue there. All right, now let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and do, I lost my glue cap. Oh, there it is. What I do a lot, well, there's a couple things that I do most often with my vintage / antique lace. The first being probably the simplest, and you probably already know this, but I like to use it as a tag topper. So if you aren't aware of how to do this, if you take your piece of lace or ribbon or whatever you are using, twine, and fold it in half, and then take the folded end and push it through the front of your tag, okay? And then you end up with this loop here, right? And you take the tails and pull it through your loop. And you have a really pretty little tag topper like that. Super easy. And then that'll look really pretty tucked in to our little applique tuck spot there. All right, now the next thing I like to do is I like to sew the lace along the edge of a page. So I will do that and show you how that looks. So if you will give me just 1 minute to pop over to my sewing machine, I will show you how that ends up looking. Okay, so here is how that ends up looking on the page. I just did a zigzag stitch, you can see on the back, and then I will trim off the extra. It's time to clean my scissors. I feel a bit sticky. And now I totally just sort of free-handed sewing this on. If you know, most of the time, actually, to be quite honest, I will throw some glue stick down and then put the lace on. It holds it just enough to get it to the sewing machine so it doesn't move around. But I actually did a pretty okay job without doing that. So, and then it looks pretty, you know, when it's closed as well. You have this nice little, you know, lacy bits hanging out. So let's see, what else can we do? I'm going to turn this way because I'm zoomed in so you can see what I'm doing, but then you can't see the whole page. So, oh, actually, let's do this instead. So, you know, we can do stuff with whole pages, but we can also decorate tags too. So let's see, let's use some of this. So I'm going to cut around this section here, and I'm not going to be too precise. I like having the netting, so that's totally fine. And I'm just going to cut right through stuff. Like, it's not anything accurate at all. I think you would call this sort of shabby chic. Just sort of a mess, right? Some people might think it's a mess, but I think once it's on this tag, it's going to look lovely. So I am just going to add my glue here. That. And let's see, what else could we do to add some more to that? Oops. We could doesn't even have to be any of this. What we can do, let me just look and see here. We can just add some bling to this. So I have my huge roll of flatback pearls. I think I will never be able to go through this in my lifetime. So I think 5 ought to do it. I mean, look at this. It's just a crazy amount. All right. Let me trim these up. You always get these little, you know, where they're sewn together. All these little pieces, which again is not that big of a deal to leave on there. Probably not even going to see it most of the time, but I like to cut it off. Oscar heard something. He's downstairs barking like crazy. Oops, there we go. Okay. So we can add these. Now I have my little, I finally got one of these. Whoops. I think I've shown this before. I don't know that I've actually used the sticky part yet, so let's see how it works. Let's go ahead and use the fabric glue. I think that'll be better. Get the glue blob off the top here and off my hand. So I'm just going to add, let's see, we need one here, right? That's definitely screaming for something. There we go. Oh, that works very well. I will link to this in the description box below in case you are interested. I used to use my diamond painting tool, which honestly worked pretty well for a really long time, but then it's like I couldn't get it to work anymore. So I used some Christmas money and got this. Let's see, where else do we need one? Maybe right here. I have to say, I'm quite impressed. I think it works really well. All right. Maybe one over here. I do use the other end all the time for pushing the leftover die cut pieces out of my dies. All right, we have one more. Where do we want to put it? Let's go right here. Might not have gotten enough glue there. There we go. All right, very cool. So now we have, I mean, that was fairly simple, right? A really pretty tag. Just using a bit of, wedding dress applique and some antique lace. I mean, it's gorgeous. And I think it's perfect just the way it is. So I hope that that was inspiring, guys. And I hope that that helps kind of clear up what people are talking about when they talk about appliques and, well, lace is kind of a obvious term. However, it might be that, you weren't sure, like, what do you use it for? And this, like I said before, these are only some of the many ways that you could use these pieces. And like I said, I do have some of these applique pieces already cut and ready to go in my Etsy shop. So the link is in my description box here. If you want to go check that out, if you're not able to find any wedding dresses or anything like that at your thrift stores. At least you can have some pieces to play with. All right, guys, I hope you have a fabulous day. I will be back tomorrow with ATC cards, and I've never done those before, so I'm kind of excited. I hope you will join me for that, and I hope that you will find time today to be creative and maybe pull out some lace or some fabric pieces and play around a little bit. Do something that you love. All right, guys, take care, stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.